Should you buy a used 5th gen Land Rover, Range Rover for $80,000? In this video, I'll answer that question and show you around this beautiful 2023 Range Rover. 80 grand is a lot of money for a car, but this Range Rover, when it was brand new, was about $130,000. But the thing with Range Rovers is they depreciate like crazy. In just a couple of years, this thing lost 50 grand. Whatever you do, don't buy these things brand new because my good friend Depp just loves these things to death. Almost $500,000 for this brand new Range Rover. Don't do it. In 2 more years, you could probably buy this for 50 grand. And that's really the thing with the Range Rovers, is just how much money you can lose on these things. But does that mean that you should never buy one? Absolutely not, because a Range Rover, after all, is a Range Rover. If you want status, luxury, and make a statement, then you can't do better than a Range Rover. Want an easy way to look rich? Buy a $10,000 Range Rover. Well, then you may end up crying yourself to sleep on spending $20,000 to fix the air suspension on your $10,000 Range Rover. This latest 5th gen Range Rover is pretty fantastic, especially the one that comes with the V8. You have the option of a 3-liter 6-cylinder engine, either a 395 horsepower or 434 horsepower variant, but stick to this, a 4.4-liter, 523 horsepower, 553 pound-feet of torque. That means that this massive Range Rover can get you to 60 miles per hour in under 4.5 seconds, which is sports car territory. With that powerful V8, the exhaust pipes should be visible, not hidden the way it is on this. This is a BMW engine, and this is the one to get with the 5th gen Land Rover. This Range Rover is pretty amazing looking, especially from the back. The taillights, the lines on this Range Rover are outstanding. You see a Range Rover driving by, there's no ignoring it. This is why people love Range Rovers. The presence of this 5th gen Range Rover is nothing short of amazing. This is a pretty hefty SUV, and in fact, Range Rover decided to give you an option to find out exactly what the dimensions are. A 6-figure SUV means you have to have a silhouette of the Range Rover. Range Rover gives you a ton of luxury in this latest iteration, starting with the running boards that are automatically extended out when you hit the unlock button. The door handles too. You don't really need the running boards to get in, but you know, rich people need things. You even have lights for your seatbelt clip. Look how uber fancy the grab handle is in this Range Rover. In most cars, they're so ordinary. In this Range Rover, nothing is ordinary. More fancy things like this digital display for the climate. But Range Rover has also managed to make this pretty confusing. No ordinary dial to change the setting for the airflow. Instead, you have to pull it and then you can change it. I wish they kept it simple, just like every other car on the planet. And then pushing in these buttons for the climate control settings requires enormous finger strength. By the time you're done changing the settings, you're gonna be worn out. But this feature is cool, where you can individually adjust airflow for each of the vents. Digital gauges in front of you. The display looks nice, but not as smooth as it could be. Tons of off-roading options. But does anyone with a Range Rover really go off-roading? I don't think so. Air quality details if you're wondering whether or not it's safe to breathe. Of course, you have to have massaging seats. Adjust them in a million ways. No shortage of features and luxury in this 2023 Range Rover. If you want to keep things cool, you can put them inside the center console. Another unnecessarily confusing thing are the glove box controls. Instead of simple switches on the glove box panel, they have these 2 small arrows to push, which look like they belong to the air vent. Then you use these arrows to open up the top and bottom compartment. Maybe this is Range Rover's way of keeping your mind sharp. Let's talk about the door panel, because none of this makes any sense. Adjusting the seats, this thing that kind of looks like a seat, it's not immediately obvious because this just looks like a couple of switches. But then you realize you have to push on these to make the seat move. They need to make it dummy-proof like Mercedes, make it look like a seat at least. The other problem is that the door latch is too far forward. Often you find yourself pulling on the grab bar instead of the latch. Just make it easy, please. I don't want to think. The other thing is, I don't know why these armrests exist. You already have this massive center console. What are you supposed to use these for? Despite all the weirdness, one thing's for sure, it's very high-end and premium inside this Range Rover. Passengers in the back get to ride in style and comfort. In case you want to hide, you got your own privacy screen, and you can ever so slightly adjust your seat back. Back here, you also get your own climate control with the equally awkward airflow adjustment, storage and cup holders. You have a massive sunroof, which is really nice. In case you get really stressed doing complicated business deals to afford cars like this, you have an air vent right above your head. Rich people get anxious managing all those dollars all the time. They need to keep their heads as cool as possible. In the tailgate area, you have two sections. This bottom part you can lower down. Tons of space back here, including space for a full-size spare. You also have buttons here to lower the seats. And you can also raise the suspension if you want. The turning radius in this Range Rover is incredible. And if in case you want to take your six-figure Range Rover off-roading, this is how high up it can go. When you're this high off the ground, that's when these running boards are useful. Over 500 horsepower in this massive SUV means that it goes from 0 to 60 in under 4.5 seconds, which is actually quicker than my Porsche 911. This is a Range Rover, so you can expect extreme luxury and quietness, incredible smoothness of ride, absorbs every bump you come across, and you don't feel anything. You won't even notice that this has a V8 because the sound is so muted. The Range Rover is geared towards giving you as luxurious of a ride as possible. In most cars, I like dynamic or sports mode, but in this one, you're better off in comfort. That's all you're really looking for in the Range Rover is how good can you get the ride quality. Because Range Rovers depreciate like crazy, this one might only be worth 10 grand a few years from now, but it will still drive and feel like an expensive six-figure luxury SUV. You're sitting so high off the ground in this Range Rover, you really do feel like you're the king of the road. You have really wide, expansive views, and if you feel like it's too quiet, it's too comfortable, all you have to do is punch it. And you'll be instantly surprised at just how quick this thing is. It's pretty crazy how quick this massive Range Rover is, almost 6,000 pounds, shockingly fast. If the Range Rover didn't depreciate like they do, then this thing would be an absolutely awesome purchase at 80K. But because of dep, this beautiful SUV will soon be worth $5. It's easy to understand why they depreciate so much because expenses on this is crazy. Reliability is a big unknown. You just don't know how much you're gonna spend fixing that air suspension. A $5 used 10-year-old Range Rover might cost you $20,000 a year to maintain. But that's why you get one with a certified pre-owned warranty, and luckily Range Rover does have quite a few. At $45,000, you can get a Range Rover that's a 4th gen, which is still almost as good as what you see here. Right now, this SUV is definitely worth 80K because of what you get for it, but knowing that this will be 50K 2 years from now, it's probably not worth buying one. So either get a CPO 4th Gen one now, or just wait a couple years and get a CPO 5th Gen, which will be one of the best SUVs you've ever owned.